Yeah, we have some technical issues, but I hope.
Ты, кстати, можешь им говорить, что типа, ну, вопрос кто-нибудь давать, ну, демонстрировать, задавать тоже. Слышишь,
Are you using our Wi-Fi connection?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Do you have your own Wi-Fi connection?
No.
Oh no. Can you slave it to your telephone? Can you use your telephone's Wi-Fi? That's not enough, is it?
Yeah,
No.
right. And she don't have a SIM card, UK SIM card, so.
Oh, I like the delay. It's weird. Look.
But it's not live. Мы можем с твоего, у тебя мой перископ?
Да,
Можешь запустить трансляцию? Oh, they see you. Okay, great.
They're saying they can see me.
Ребят, как связь? Давайте в чатике в YouTube тоже проверим, пока нормально, да? Смотрите, значит, мы будем параллельно транслировать это все в перископе еще, поэтому если вдруг связь пропадает и что-то такое, вы можете переходить в перископ тоже. Перископ Лингуа Марина. Да, пока все окей, я очень рада, что все окей, я надеюсь, что так и будет. Отлично. Да, в перископе сейчас тоже запущусь, значит, все в прямом эфире. Так, сейчас назовем. Мы, еще раз напоминаю, обсуждаем сегодня, как писать письмо на английском формальное, да, то есть, когда вы пишете в университет, по бизнесу что-то, вашим партнерам. На самом деле, очень важно в Великобритании соблюдать правила, да, там, приветствия, да, какие-то вещи, как вы закрываете письмо, какой язык вы используете. И особенно это важно, когда вы пишете там в те же университеты, да, потому что они тоже смотрят, насколько вы подкованы в таком вот формальном общении.
Hey, Jiyoung. This is exciting.
Yeah, right.
Ребят, если связь пропадает, да, еще раз напомню, что мы еще в онлайне в перископе. Посмотрим, где будет лучше. Я надеюсь, что интернет не совсем сожрет весь трафик, да. Да, ноутбук немножко повернут к доске. Сейчас все будет. Вот так. Ага. Отлично. Привет всем.
Start speaking English.
Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, are we starting?
We already started. So we have 36.
Oh, we already started.
We have 36 people or 42 people on Periscope, and I cannot check how many people are on live YouTube, but we'll see later.
Hi. I have with me Dimitri and Jiyoung, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Marina in the class. We're going to look at
Say hi.
I want to look at we've just got like 20 minutes, half an hour, don't we? So I just wanted to go through some basic rules for email writing, which is generally it's quite simple actually, and I'll explain why as well. First of all, so we're going to call it business email etiquette. Do you know what etiquette means?
Yeah, I think there's a...
Yeah,
What is
basic rules.
etiquette?
You should be polite. You should.
Yeah, it's kind of the formal rules, like how. So when I say business email etiquette, this is kind of how to send emails in English in the right way. Because I think even in email writing, the way we talk in different cultures can be rude in another culture. For example, like in England, we always say please and thank you, even if we don't mean it. It's just part of our culture. And so if you don't say please and thank you, people think you're being rude. Whereas say in Spain, no one says please and thank you, and no one cares. No one thinks you're rude if you don't say it. And so English is a language that there are certain things you have to say. It's just a formality. Please and thank you is the kind of classic examples. But also, when you ask questions, I think especially in an email, when you're asking someone to do something for you, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, which we'll look at as well. So I want to look at, hang on, a few things today. We're going to look at, the different ways of opening or saying hello and closing an email, saying goodbye, and there's quite a few rules on that depending on who you're writing to and how you know them. Another one we want to look at, generally what kind of writing style you would use when writing an email, and finally, hopefully we'll have time, I just want to have a quick look at what we call soft questions. Ways of asking a question in a very indirect way. It's kind of a very gentle way of asking a question. And
in bigger letters, because
people can't read my writing? Okay.
Yeah, well, no, because I think it's too far away for the camera.
Oh my lord. Sorry.
No
Okay.
worries.
Okay. So, just to recap, we're going to look at, is that better?
Guys, do you see what he's writing? Yes. I see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's the menu. Right. First thing before I begin, but this is kind of connected to writing style. Remember that an email is not a letter. Is that big enough? Can you see that?
Yeah.
An email is not a letter. I'm sure most of you remember from school horrible English classes where you learn the formal letter style in English. You know, like name, address.
Yeah.
Dear sir, I am writing to inquire as to whether it would be possible, if at all, you could have a conversation with me regarding that. So forget all of that. You don't need to do any of that when you write an email. It's not a letter. If you, I think not many professions write letters anymore. I think lawyers, that's one profession where it's really important that you still send things on a paper document. That's a completely different subject though. So whatever you learn about letter writing, most of that is not going to help with an email. Because also, a letter's quite a long, formal piece of writing. And when we write emails, also as well, there's big changes with email recently. Remember, like, when was the last time you sent an email to a friend?
Yeah, we just use messengers.
Long time ago. Like, messenger apps like Facebook, WhatsApp, all of those, killed email. We don't use email for social communication. What do we use email for, though?
Business.
Business. We use it for work, for school. Why? Why don't we use Facebook for business?
Because you don't need an immediate response, you can wait for...
Well, maybe you don't need the immediate response, or smileys. But also, I think with email, the idea is you've got a permanent record of communication. And in business, if you've been working for a while, you will know it's important that you have a permanent record of all the conversations you had.
Yeah.
If you haven't experienced that yet, keep everything. Keep all your business emails because you might need them later on. If someone doesn't do something and they said in an email you would do it and you have that email, that's your proof. So it's very much the standard communication style for business. If English is not your first language as well, writing an email can be more comfortable than a phone conversation. Because telephone conversations in another language can be very difficult, even if you're really good at that language. It's just the audio sound quality is so bad on the telephone. When you have a phone call in your in a different language, even if you're really good at that language, it's going to be difficult for you. So email is far more reliable communication medium, especially between different languages. Another thing though, how many emails do you receive every day?
A lot. And a lot of
A lot.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you open one of those emails and it's like this? How do you feel when you get a very long email?
I just close it.
Yeah, you just sometimes you don't even read it. You're like, oh god. Because as communication became easier, we started to get more of it. But there are no more hours in the day. We did not make the days longer, but we have more email, more communication, so we have less time for each individual email. We have less time to write emails, we have less time to read emails. So the most important thing when you're writing an email keep it short and simple. Really, really important. That's kiss, not kiss ass. That's completely different. What do I mean by that? Let's. And the key thing I've noticed, hang on. Sorry, I'm trying to make my writing bigger now. Something I noticed, I had a friend who was writing, she was a German speaker, and she was writing to a work colleague to get a lot of information. And she would, in her email, she would have like 5 or 6 questions. And she noticed that the person, when they replied, they would only answer 1 or 2 of those questions. And I started thinking, well, I think like you don't have much time to read an email, and you've got a lot of emails to read. By the time you get to the end of your email and you're busy, you won't remember the earlier questions. If you put too many questions in your email, you won't get an answer to all of them. Yeah. So divide it. Send an email with 1 or 2 questions, get your answers, send the next set of questions. Don't send a big list of questions because you'll have to write more emails anyway. So break it into little parts. And don't give too much information as well. The classic one is, let's say you're writing to someone you don't know, and you say, hello, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Benjamin. I have been living in London for 10 years. I like shopping and tennis. You know? What's at the end of the email? What's at the end of every email at work? Your name, your job title, the employee information, the details of your employer. So you don't need to say any of that. That's at the end of your email. It's called your digital signature. If you don't have one, make one. Put it, Google it, digital signature, email, how do I do it? Make sure you have one, because then you don't need to give that information. It's there at the bottom if they want it. And stay to the point as well. If there's someone at work you want to ask them about 2 different things, that's 2 different emails. Keep things nice and separate and clean that way, and that keeps the communication clear. I'm not even on screen now, am I?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at some of the formalities of it, and there aren't many. I think most of the formal language of a letter we don't use in an email anymore because
They're getting closer.
because it takes too much time. So the formality in an email now is just at the beginning and the end, really. And really, that's only if you don't know the person. Once you know them, don't need to be formal. I'll demonstrate. Hang on. So let's say, I think the most formal email you can write is when you're writing to someone and you don't know their name, and you haven't met them. Obviously, if you don't know their name, you haven't met them. If you met them and you can't remember their name, that's different. So if you don't know, so you never met them, you don't know their name, how do you open the email? Dear whoever you are. Dear whatever your name is. Dear X. How do I start?
Dear sir.
Dear sir.
Or
Well, that's
make
or,
or Martin.
ooh, nice. So there's the two classics. You could either say dear sir, madam, like that. Or my preference, they both work, but I like this one because it sounds really posh. To whom it may concern. Meaning, like, I don't know who is supposed to read this, but whoever is supposed to read this, I'm talking to you. Okay.
They're asking, can we use dear Mrs. Mr.?
Dear Mr. or Mrs.
Yeah.
No, dear sir, madam.
Okay.
That's dear Mr. or Mrs. You can't say dear Mr. or Mrs. because maybe, oh Lord, writing an email to men is easier because you just say dear Mr. But when you're writing an email to a woman, you have to use different words depending on if they're married or not married, or if you don't know if they're married. It's complicated. We'll get there. So that's the first way. This is the... And like I say, you'll only do that if you don't know who you are writing to. So when that person replies to you, and if you reply to, and then you reply to them, you won't do that again, because when they reply,
You have them.
Yeah.
you'll have their name. So then let's say situation 2. You know their name. You know their name, but you haven't written to them before, haven't met them.
So it's first interaction. First interaction. Yeah. This is the first interaction with people.
Well, these are both first interactions, but sometimes when you have a first interaction, you do know their name. Sometimes you don't. If you do know their name, it's quite simple. So, well, for a man, it's simple. Everything is more complicated. Sorry. Dear Mr. and then surname. Okay, very easy. So, what's your surname?
Pistoliaco.
What's your surname? Okay, so you say like, dear Mr. Smith. Okay, there you go. Generally, you will only use doctor if they're a medical doctor. Now, I know in other cultures, anyone with a PhD, you call them doctor. I know, like in South America, you call lawyers doctor. Yeah. But the English formality is, you call a medical doctor a doctor because no one else is a real doctor. I know that's maybe insulting to the people who work very hard to become a doctor of house music or something, but also notice as well, if the person call themselves doctor, you call them doctor. If they are a doctor but they say Mr., you say Mr. use the name that they use on their business card or on their digital signature. That will tell you how they want you to address them. Professor, like high-level university professors, generally you'll call them professor. I know professor in many cultures just means teacher in general, which is why half my students just call me teacher. But in England, a professor is a very, very high level of authority in a university. They're like the top lecturers in a university are the professors. The other people are like the lecturers and the tutors. So the professors, they're kind of like the top senior teachers. And they like to be called professor. And if they don't like it, they'll say, don't use professor. English culture especially, maybe less in the United States, but English culture is very informal. Especially, it's not common. If someone has a PhD, they won't say, you must call me doctor. Or like in Germany, if someone is an engineer, you have to call them engineer. And in Ecuador as well, I know like there was a company I used to teach in Ecuador, they made stock exchange software. And the boss, he had an engineering degree, everyone called him engineer. They said, good morning, engineer. It was like a term of respect. But in England, if you're an engineer, we don't call you engineer. It's not so formal. Okay. If it's a woman, a bit more complicated. So, if the woman is married, if you definitely know she is married, Mrs. But the contraction is M-R-S with a dot like that. So that is for a... So, married woman, Mrs. Well, not single, unmarried. Is dear Miss. And if you don't know,
Mrs.
No. Like that. And that's just saying, I know you're a woman, but I'm not sure if you're married. I keep walking off camera, don't I? It's no matter how close you get, I always end up over here. And you would end in both those situations, because it's the first contact, right? Yours faithfully. A lot of people think, oh, is it a capital F or a small f? Is it a comma or a semicolon? No one knows. And you can do any of them. If you want to use a capital F, use one. If you don't, don't. If you want to use a comma, use one. If you use a colon. Like I say, even if you didn't put a comma, they won't even notice. They're busy. They've got 100 emails to read. No one will, I won't do business with him. He didn't use a comma properly. They don't care. Think as well. How many of the people you have to communicate with in English are native speakers?
Depends.
Depends.
Now, you work in America a lot of the time.
So, yeah,
but okay, so
all
you
of them.
guys over there, think, like when you're writing English, I'm guessing most of the time it's to people where English is also their second language. So that's when we're talking about that kind of international English. and that's becoming so much more common now. English isn't just a language we need if you want to speak to an English speaker. It's a common language.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do you speak Korean?
No.
Do you speak Russian?
No, but you speak English.
But you're both speaking, there you go. So you two writing to each other in English, you will both be more forgiving. You both, maybe you'll see that there's mistakes in your writing, but you'll care less because it's also your second language and you know that it's hard to write in a second language. So
Yeah.
people are not going to judge your writing. A lot of people I know will sit on an email for days and not send it
this is
because
the
they're
problem.
terrified.
It's about me. It's definitely about me. Yeah.
Like, can you check this? Are you sure
Yeah,
this is right?
I
Are you
always
sure?
ask,
Are you sure? I'm like, just send the email, no one cares.
Yeah.
Like, shall I say goodbye or shall I say have a nice day? Like, say anything.
It's definitely about me.
Really?
Yeah.
Stop it. Just send
Yeah.
the email.
Yeah. Even if it's native speaker to another.
Yeah, just send it.
Okay.
Okay. Can I remove this from the board?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you,
We
you
should
may
ask
want to.
1,000 people.
You might want to look for the print screen key. It's in the top right. Shall I just pause for a second?
No, it's okay. They don't see it anyway because they cannot read because the stream is low quality, so they can hear you, but they cannot.
Oh, brilliant! So I could just write anything here. Okay. So just to recap.
Oh, they're actually
then.
saying yes, remember. Yeah.
So just to review then, for those of you who are having visual problems, first contact, you don't know them, you never met them, dear sir or madam, or to whom it may concern. If you know their name, but this is still first contact, for a man, quite easy, dear Mr. Smith. A woman, if they're married, it's Mrs. Unmarried is Miss. You don't know, it's Ms. I didn't even know how to say that. And remember, if they're a medical doctor, say doctor. And if their job title says professor, say professor. And in both those situations, you would end it yours faithfully. But only the first contact used yours faithfully. Okay. Then so again, and this when written business communication was in letters, this was not the case. Letters was this very formal system that I think many languages still have, and I can see it in email writing in a lot of cultures. They still use the formal rules of their letter writing. Like I remember I was living in Ecuador and I had to write a formal letter in Spanish. And I'd written it and I took it to a friend, a Spanish friend, before I gave it to this person. And what I'd written like one paragraph and he went, oh no, that's wrong. And then he wrote the whole thing out and it was like 4 paragraphs. So I know like, most of the people watching, are they Russian speakers?
We have different but mostly
speakers.
Russian speakers.
Mostly Russian.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I know Russian formal writing style is use as many words as you can, because because I think the idea is that using a lot of words is a sign of intelligence and education. So by using a lot of words in your writing, that shows your education.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas English as a language is a much more economical language. You can say the same detail with much less words. I think as well, this is maybe why English has become such a popular language, because you can give a lot of detail in very short space. And most languages need a lot of space for a lot of detail. Like German, Russian especially, I've seen a very, very verbose writing style. Lots and lots and lots of words. And in English it's like, no, get rid of that. Take away that, don't need that. So after that first interaction, the formality is gone. Hi, John.
Even if he's professor.
Yeah, even if he's a professor at the university.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Hi,
Yeah.
Johnny.
What's up, John?
What's up?
Because why? Because
Hey, what's
I
up?
think it's about this emails time balance. So that first interaction is like, hi, I'm formal, I'm respectful, can we do this now? And it's understood. It's like, okay, you're formal, good, forget it. We've done that now. Hi, what do you want?
Cool. In America, it's in the same.
The same. It's that
yeah.
first interaction is formal. And once you've done that, it is understood that you want to be polite. But time is money. Just say, hey, hi. You don't even need to. You wouldn't have to even use their name, because they know who you are. Now they know who you are.
So in England now it's normal, right? Nowadays.
Really,
it's-
really normal.
Because
Hi,
I thought that
hello.
The English is very,
No.
Normal.
I know there's this idea, isn't there, that we're all kind of sitting with a cup of tea and an umbrella and a bowler hat, you know, we're all dating Julia Roberts and we live in Notting Hill. This is not true. I'm sorry. It's a very informal culture.
Cool.
England's really informal.
It's very useful.
There are certain companies, like some of the older banks, like financial institutions and government institutions, where you'll have to be super, super formal. But make your life easy. Don't work for a really old British bank. Oh no, they've all gone out of business anyway, haven't they? Okay. Ending those further emails. There's a few different ways to end emails. Kind regards. Best regards, regards, lots of different kinds of regards. Don't use all of them at the same time, just choose one. Say hi or hello. Maybe not yo. I don't think that's not acceptable yet. Maybe in a few years, yo is still not acceptable. Or like hey, that's not no. There's a few tricks you can do with formal language, which is that sometimes you can be a bit angry with someone at work. And we can use, let's say for example, you asked someone to do something before and they didn't do it. Or it took them a very long time. And then now you're asking them to do something again and you want to push them to do it quickly. So whatever you ask them to do, there's a very nice way to end your email that's very polite but also quite pushy. No, not as soon as possible. What you do this. You say, you end your email like this, thanking you in advance, and then name, then whatever job title. But that's a nice way to end the email. Thanking you in advance. For example, dear John, could you please check the accounts payable for last month? Thanking you in advance, Ben. Meaning, I won't thank you after you've done it. I'm thanking you before because I know you'll do it. So it's a very, very polite way of saying, do this now. The other one,
Thank you for understanding.
the other one, yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're asking something, you say thank you for understanding, meaning I hope you understand.
Kind regards is polite. Kindest regards means I hate you.
Really?
It's funny, you see like the really angry emails, they always have the really nice ending. Generally, the more angry you are, the more polite you should be. So, actually that is a nice rule. If you remember from school, like your formal letter writing grammar for English, like I'm writing to ask you, things like that. If you are angry with someone and you're writing an email to them, kind of like using that formal language shows them it's serious. So especially, usually you're writing emails to people and they're very informal. Hi, hello, how are you? And you notice there's a problem and you have to tell someone about this, or you really need to kind of pressure someone a bit. Suddenly they get an email from you that's suddenly using really formal language. They're like, oh, I'm in trouble now. Because it's showing, you're saying to them like, look, when things go well, we don't need to be formal. But if it's gonna be difficult like this, I'm going to have to be formal about this, which means like, this is serious. So yeah, if you get emails from people you know, and the content is very formal, they're probably not in a very good mood. Okay, I see you watching clock. How much time do we have?
No, maybe
we could just keep going. Okay.
No, I mean sum it up and.
We could sum it up. Okay, so just to soft questions will have to come another time. I'm sorry. So just to recap, for business email in English today, it's just that first interaction that needs those formal structures because of the time factor. We're too busy to be formal all the time. So be formal in that first interaction, and then very quickly you can just be informal. And you'll notice when you do that email communication in English with people, very quickly, if it's with a native English speaker, very quickly they will drop that formality because we're too busy to be formal. We know that everyone wants to be polite, unless you're mad. Generally, people at work want to be polite. Work is difficult. We don't want to make it more difficult. So it's just that initial formality and that first interaction. And then after that, it's just, hey, regards, bye.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Ребят, сейчас будет ответ на вопрос. Я сейчас только выйду из класса.
And we should end there.
Yeah, I'm taking it. I'm the device girl. Oops. Did you open the door?
Did we stop the stream? Are we still streaming?
Yeah, I'm streaming. I'm gonna answer the questions now.
Oh, okay.
You have fun. Okay. Так, ребят, рассказывайте, как вам. Так. Сейчас у меня сейчас перископ и видеотрансляция. Сейчас я тут разложусь. Значит, спасибо. Так, сейчас, чтобы все было видно. Я так села на пол просто в коридоре. Все падает. Так. Вот так, да? Вот так мне видно. Все, да, я решила, что просто мы первый раз такое делали, да, думаю, давайте сделаем покороче, чтобы, да, видите, YouTube тормозил, и вообще первый раз такое дело. Я думаю, что будем продолжать. Расскажите мне просто вот ваши впечатления. Я поняла, что доску было не видно, с этим мы подумаем, что сделать, да, может быть, какие-то whiteboards надо транслировать или, вот. Так, про семью будет видео. Я уже записала все, да, мне надо сводить потихонечку. Супер. Слушайте, я сегодня была на другом уроке, и там было так тоже круто. Там Воу-воу-воу. Так, это что было? Так, там учитель пел песню на гитаре, и мы вставляли слова, которые он пропускал. Мой перископ лингва марина. Нормально, да? Смотрите, кому-то было нормально, видела? А слушайте, почему 2 человека в группе? Сейчас расскажу. Короче, это бизнес-класс, во-первых. Во-вторых, это во второй половине дня. Все занимаются вообще в первой половине дня. Вот. И второй классный момент, что тут реально во второй половине дня очень мало народу, и это вам такой лайфхак. Эти курсы, которые во второй половине дня, стоят намного дешевле, но зато вы занимаетесь, вот в такой группе 2 человека, иногда 1 человек. Это очень круто. Вот, знаете, люди, которые хотят индивидуальные занятия, платят $1000 за занятия. Здесь, по-моему, этот курс во второй половине дня стоит 160 фунтов в неделю, и вы занимаетесь реально один. Я вот, видите, тут вот у меня перископ и компьютер, и вот. Разговорные классы есть, да, есть и подготовка к IELTS, все, что вам нужно. Вот. Школа называется UIC Central. Ребята, я бы сама тут училась вообще постоянно. Мне очень безумно нравится учителя. Вы знаете, я когда первые разы ездила учить английский, когда они нам пели песни, когда ты с учителем общаешься не как с учителем, да, а как с другом, который тебя, понимает, поддерживает, нет какой-то формальности и так далее. Это очень круто. Доску местами было видно. Да, все разбирают до косточек, на каждый вопрос отвечают. И все это настолько круто. А что самое крутое, это в самом центре Лондона. Прямо вот тут выходишь сразу Оксфорд-стрит, Биг Бен недалеко, то есть до всего пешком можно. С 8 лет можно, да, в детский центр. Учителя можно влюбиться, да, учителя-то такие, лондонцы, британцы, они такие. Что ой-ой, вот. Летом, да, у них есть, они круглый год открыты, каждый понедельник можно заехать. Виза в Великобританию сейчас спокойно выдается всем, то есть никаких проблем с этим нету. Занятие длится 1,5 часа. Учитель? Нет, мне кажется, у меня зеркальная камера просто. Такая же школа есть в Сан-Диего, да. Если базы нет, вообще как можно раньше, мне кажется, надо езжать и заниматься носителем. Видите, какая разница сумасшедшая? Мне кажется, кто занимается дома у себя, вот подскажите, в чем самая большая разница вот сейчас с этим уроком? Это был уровень B2. Круто, спасибо большое. Да, идея на самом деле в том, чтобы постоянно транслировать конкретно с этой школы, потому что реально они мне больше всего нравятся. Да, мама плюс ребенок будут скидки. Напишите нам lingvatrip.com, да, сейчас скину. Слушайте, полностью обучение, по-моему, будет стоить 600 фунтов, 2 недели, это обучение плюс проживание. Я, конечно, тут, знаете, в правой руке чатик, потому что в трансляции нельзя отвечать, в левой руке у меня перископ, и я вот сижу вот так вот с 2 телефонами. Так, enough Russian. Guys, sorry, because this was mainly for Russian people. I know Periscope invited some English speakers as well, and foreign people. And this was B2. B2 это, да, intermediate. Учитель старался, на самом деле они всегда такие, они всегда очень энергичные, как будто на сцене. Билет, знаете, мы покупали за 25 000 рублей, кто рубли понимает, я так понимаю, это где-то $400. Можно полететь через Европу за, там, не знаю, 20 евро. Вот, виза стоит $131. Вот, и, в принципе, все, да. Почему вас так мало было? Потому что вот я объясняю, да, что во второй половине дня занятия, и на них очень такой классный лайфхак, да, группа не заполняется во второй половине дня, и вы занимаетесь реально 2-3 человека, это, за такие занятия люди платят $1000. Вот, поэтому, да, учитель очень классный, очень мне все понравилось, тоже, я говорю, сегодня была на уроках, и я прямо, я хочу заниматься тоже. Да, $400 туда-обратно, зависит от того, откуда еще летите, потому что, из разных городов по-разному. Вот, я бы еще вам, конечно, школу показала, но из-за того, что, я с 3 девайсами, обязательно подпишитесь на канал, буквально через видео будет обзор вообще, чего как тут вокруг. UIC Central London. Вот, по национальностям, кстати, тут почти нету русских, как обычно, да. Вот, есть Турция, кто еще? Таиланд, Испания, Италия. Так, знаете, мне интересно, я просто люблю таких активных учителей, я реально в кайфе сижу. Знаете, у меня до сих пор проблемы с артиклями A и the. Я живу в принимающей семье. Почему? крупный город. С2 самый высокий, да. I've never been to Brazil, but I want to. What does it mean? Life hack. Ну, лайфхак, знаете, когда такой какой-то, когда вы находите какой-то крутой способ обойти какую-то сложность, наверное, так. Мне 26. Еще можно жить в резиденции. Здесь не только в семье, да, еще можно резиденция и студенческая квартира. Смотрите, все вопросы, да, вот сайт linguatrip.com, вы можете нам позвонить или заказать обратный звонок, задать вопрос именно по этой школе, это наша самая любимая школа. Вот, мы обязательно все посчитаем, все расскажем, и девочки вас проконсультируют, что и как. И на канале будет видео еще из этой школы, потому что вот реально мы учились в нескольких школах в Лондоне, и честно скажу, все остальные, они хорошие, как бы там можно оценить на 4, но на 5 только эту могу оценить, серьезно. Такой подход крутой. Я не знаю, вот с уроками надо думать, да, мы думаем, что нужно будет в июне сюда приехать на подольше, да, и постримить еще уроков, но до этого мы, конечно, нужно решить что-то, как это все стримить, потому что это, конечно, очень сложно с ютубом. Я не ожидала, что у них такой косячный стрим, у меня, все прерывалось, я вот с перископом из-за этого, и с ютубом все в одном, чат у меня в одном месте, да, потому что у меня в другом месте все остальное, поэтому вот так вот, да, в ютубе так себе, ага. В Брайтоне тоже филиал USC. Слушайте, в Брайтоне, кто хочет в Брайтон, там мне вчера сказали, что очень дружный коллектив и очень классные семьи. То есть семьи все недалеко от школы, типичные британцы. И если у них был какой-то студент, который приехал, типа, знаете, такой homesick, очень хотел домой, они не знали, что делать, и отправили его в Брайтон. И так ему понравилось. И вот он в Брайтоне остался, но говорят, что очень круто. YouTube пишет еще 18 минут до начала трансляции. YouTube что-то с ума сошел. Ну, вроде как ребята смотрят трансляцию в YouTube. Видео все прошло отлично. Ура, я рада, что все хорошо. Да, супер. Да, нужно, видимо, уметь, да, там с видеокодеками. Я думала, что просто все будет просто. Да, как в перископе. Hi, guys. Hi, French guys. В Бормуте есть школы. Да, в Бормуте есть школы. И Англо-Континентал, по-моему, у нас тоже, опять же, можете на Linguatrip девочкам написать, они вам расскажут, что как по школам. Круто, я так рада, что вам понравилось. Дмитрий Потапенко. Это Потап, что ли? Не знаю, нет, наверное. Может, и знаю. Так, не, Гримку не выиграла. Сказали, has not been selected. Я такая, черт, ладно. Анонс видео был на 18, да вы что? Окей. Вот видите, первый блинком. Можно выбирать и курсы, курс может длиться от 1 недели, это минимум. Максимум хоть год. Очень динамично. Да, он очень быстро рассказывал, так прямо, что не заскучать, знаете, не как на уроках иногда сидишь, так... Какой дяденька консульстве набрал? Да, мне дяденька консульстве набрал, конечно, смешной человек. Спасибо большое. Да, поняла. Да, он не понял, что фамилия сложная. Он такой, да, давайте других возьмем. Сори, ребята, кто в ютубе, я просто с перископа еще читаю вопросы. Нам пришло 17:00. Кстати, может быть, знаете, что YouTube делает? Он смотрит, какое у вас время на компьютере и присылает по времени на компьютере. Да, запись будет, конечно, я сейчас вот завершу уже скоро трансляцию. YouTube все сведет и автоматически выложит буквально, я думаю, через часик, и можно будет все посмотреть. Вот, ребят, давайте еще, если какие-то последние вопросы, если тоже буду заканчивать. Пойду собираться, пойду погуляю по Оксфорд-стрит, знаете, что хочу сходить по магазинам, посмотреть чего-то интересненького. Как быстро научиться понимать речь говорящего, носителя, да, надо просто приехать и пожить в этой среде и постоянно, да, общаться, только так, погрузить себя. Еще подобные трансляции, да, будем планировать, я поняла, что всем очень понравилось, спасибо огромное. Так, виза без справки нет, там нужны справки, конечно, с работы, из банка. Так, с вами можно рассчитываться в валюте, мы снимаем с карты деньги в долларах, если вы хотите в валюте, можно через банк оплатить в валюте, которая у вас есть. Супер, спасибо, ребятки, спасибо вам огромное, всем, кто в ютубе, в перископе, спасибо огромное за внимание, очень круто, что вам понравилось. Если у вас особая ситуация с визой, мы бесплатно делаем вам оценку шансов по визе, поэтому позвоните нам, расскажите ситуацию, вам девочки подскажут, как лучше действовать, да, если, они увидят, что не дадут визу, они скажут, не надо, поэтому мы совершенно честно к этому подходим, нам тоже важно. Так, хочу еще урок. Так, карманных денег Лондоне в неделю. Ну, смотрите, ланч у меня сейчас был 7 фунтов я потратила, на ужин я где-то 10 фунтов трачу, и, ну, там, на проезд 40 фунтов в неделю, что-то вот так. На 2 недельки стоит 600 фунтов с проживанием. Я сейчас всем, кто подписывался на рассылку, да, записывался, вышлю обязательно, не сейчас только, ребят, через 2 часа, наверное, или завтра, ссылку на школу, да, с ценой на 2 недели. Вот, чтобы вы уже посмотрели, если вам интересно, приезжайте. Я надеюсь, что я тут в июне опять буду, поэтому давайте приезжайте в июне, может, встретимся. Да, есть conversation класс, конечно. Как создать конференцию. Ребят, да надо скачать, вы зайдите в YouTube, инструкцию, там все написано. Я, правда, боролась сильно. На 2 недели мало, вы знаете, на самом деле, если выбор не ехать или на 2 недели, лучше на 2 недели. Вот, все, ребят, спасибо вам огромное еще раз за внимание. Вы такие классные, что в 5 часов вечера по Москве, да, я знаю, что у кого-то работа, что вы были, смотрели. Вот, все, заходите на Lingua3, подписывайтесь на канал, будем с вами на связи, будет больше интересных всяких трансляций. Все, пока-пока.